mean, I'm sure Porsches are cool. You know what I mean? I guess for like guys with, lower back butterfly tattoos. Anyway, as you were saying, yeah, I don't know. I saw it briefly this morning. I think it was like 34, 35, and then I saw 30 before I hopped on here. I really don't look at price.
It
I
dipped
know it
below it,
sounds
but
stupid.
yeah, I don't know if, like a year or two ago I went on Coin Icarus and I was predicting like another crash after this, and a lot of hardcore people were like, oh no, it'll never crash. We're going there, right? I have to give a shout out to TMS Bitcoin. He contacted me today because we had a bet going, and I was betting on the crash side. He was more on the bullish side, and I it reached a 55% correction today. So he reached out to me to pay up. So he's a pretty honorable guy.
That's epic.
Yeah. He got stiffed by a couple of like well-known people, which isn't cool, but he's a pretty good guy himself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make a bet, be a man of your word. In
Yeah,
anything,
it was a bet I did not want to win, though. Sorry.
Yeah, but at least it softens the blow a little, right?
I guess I would have rather lost this bet, but you go through it and you realize that this is just what it does, which makes it easier.
Yeah, I mean, listening to a lot of people talk about like what it had done, and in previous cycles, I guess, kind of just like made me numb to price action, because I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, it's dipping, like, but I know all I have to do is like hold on until the next halving and I'll have a lot more money. Like,
yeah, nothing's changed, and the narrative's even more bullish overall. It's insanely bullish, and this 55% is not the 85%. I know you and I talked about that before, but this isn't all that bad.
yeah,
if your plan is I believe in Bitcoin and I'm just going to keep stacking, just dollar cost averaging is the best way instead of trying to time it because nobody can time it. Then it's a good time to just keep doing that.
Yeah, just I don't know. I mean, I haven't bought much Bitcoin lately. If I'm being real, like I don't know. I bought $500 in Bitcoin not long ago, which was pretty cool. A friend of mine retired to the Philippines, and he's living off his Bitcoin. And I was able to like help him not have to go through a KYXC exchange to sell his Bitcoin so that he can like survive. And I was able to get some Bitcoin without having to buy it from an exchange. So it was like a cool peer-to-peer. And now I have that connection. You know what I mean? Like when he needs money again, he can hit me up and I can buy some Bitcoin from him, and that circular economy.
The best way to do it would be to just say, okay, I'm going to do X amount a week. If you could set that up with him, that might be a win-win.
The thing is, I don't always have like, you know what I mean? Like I don't always have it to buy every week.
Yeah.
So it's like we got a tax return. That's why I bought $500 of Bitcoin.
Yeah, mine was the opposite. But it's like, if you're a true believer, then you probably don't have like a lot of dry powder, right?
Yeah, I just don't. It is.
You're either in or you weren't really all that into it in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot. So let me follow that up by saying I do a lot of things. I don't want to say in Bitcoin because that sounds so like, I don't know, like I have my head up my own ass, but I do a lot of things like in the community that earn me sats. So I don't necessarily buy Bitcoin all that often, but like I facilitate miner sales. I sell stickers for the podcast. Some people stream sats to the podcast. There's like certain things where I earn some sats here, some sats there. So like I've been steadily finding little ways to earn some sats. So there's always sats coming in. It's just like I haven't been like, oh, I have, $100 in fiat that I'm going to convert into Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, that's the best way to do it. Sounds like. And when the price is all shitty like this, I think it's good to like go and focus on other things and improve yourself in other things. And I see you doing that. That's pretty cool.
It just so happened to work out, right? Like the dip came at this time of year, and this time of year is the busiest time of year for me, like both business and home wise. So I'm I can see myself being like this really present, like, character on Bitcoin Twitter in like the mid to late summer into winter time of year. But this time of year, it's like 15-hour days, and I just I don't even have the gas left to make a meme at the end of the day. It's like,
I think you're there more than I am right now. Congrats on your baby goats and your chicken beheading thingies.
Yes. Got to murder and bring new life to the homestead all in the same weekend.
Wow, that's kind of a wash, isn't it?
It is. It's the balance. It's the yin and the yang, the balance of nature.
Very Jedi-like.
Yes.
But I'm impressed with all the work you're doing to make yourself like self-sustainable. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's setting my kids up with knowledge that they may not necessarily use right away. I was taught a lot of this stuff when I was young, and I went through my 20s like eating fucking roller food out of 7-Eleven and like not having anything to do with any of the stuff that I'm doing now. And like now that I have my sons, it's like, I got to pass the knowledge on to them of like, there'll come a day where you might want to grow something. Here's how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There'll come a day where you might want to have some animals of your own. Here's how you keep them alive.
Nice. Well, when the supermarkets don't have meat anymore, then you'll be in good shape.
How is it up there? Because it is crazy here.
As far as cost or supply or both?
So my wife went to the grocery store last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what day it is. Last week, I think. And she said it was at least 2 to 3 times as expensive as last month.
Mm-hmm.
And the machines we run at work run on diesel. I went to the gas station today, diesel $6.60 a gallon. So that sucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think, stuff's more expensive, but at the same time, it's like lower quality. So like if you're getting like cuts of meat, it's like different cuts of meat now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we all saw this coming. And then the general media is like, who could see this coming?
Oh, yeah.
But, this is the time, like with Bitcoin doing terrible, that the wrecked influencers become attack vectors. It's, during the good times, everybody's a Bitcoiner, but now is when like you'll see like the people just start falling through the cracks. And, this is where the rep people are going to start calling for changes to Bitcoin because they got paid by somebody.
Oh yeah. 100%. And
that's
I mean, everything's going to shit too. Like it's, we tend to only focus on Bitcoin, which is, a good thing. But if you take a look around like the
stock market things.
Yeah, and even like, ETH the other day was depegging from ETH. So like 1 ETH was worth, if you sold 1 ETH for ETH, it was worth like 0.9 of a whole ETH. However the fuck that happens. So like it's, scorched earth all the way around. Like people are just getting wrecked left and right. And you see the despair in people. People are fucking desperate. People are losing a whole lot of money. The people that trade, I would never want to trade. Like this we both, we have some acquaintances in common who trade like for a living. And I'm like, I could fucking never do that.
Yeah, that seems crazy. I don't know. Nothing changed as far as Bitcoin being the best money. The last time there was like, when COVID hit, there was a risk off situation. Everything crashed. It was like the last time I can remember like everything crashing together. Bitcoin was like what, $3,100, and everybody's like, oh look, it's correlated, and it wasn't. I don't think it is this time either. But you have to wait a little bit for the dust to settle.
Yeah, that and a big part of the dip that we're seeing right now, in my opinion, is the whatever the hell that shitcoiner's name is, Duquan or whatever the fuck his name is.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
UST, I think, is his shitcoin of choice, or Luna is his shitcoin, the shitcoin that he like.
I block all those people immediately. I don't know. I don't follow any of that.
Well, he bought like 60,000 Bitcoin a couple of months ago, and then he sold. Let me get the exact figures so I don't get my back kicked then. He sold. He started the day today with 80,393 Bitcoin. 52,188 coins went to Gemini and were sold on Gemini. And 28,205 went back to an address. So,
well, that seems dumb.
Yeah. So if, I have a strong indication that has, today's price action has a lot to do with.
Well, Bitcoin's been hold for a while now. We've seen this trend where it's been going down for like 6 months or whatever. Despite all these big hodlers like collecting it and supposedly countries collecting it. So it seems like it's just really not hot right now. And that's fine. But you just wonder when that limited supply actually becomes a factor. You see people talking online about the paper Bitcoin being a problem, where there's, people are trading more Bitcoin than actually exist.
Yep.
I don't know how much that plays into it. It shouldn't matter if people are just holding. But anyway, I wanted to make the point that like Bitcoin's fine. It doesn't need to do anything other than what it's already doing. Like it's already like a central bank fiat killer, and this is the time when everybody's like, "Oh, Bitcoin's not good enough. It's sucking price wise right now. So we need to upgrade it somehow, and that's dangerous." I think the last upgrade that was really necessary was like SegWit in 2017 because it like layered scaling, and that was needed. But it's dangerous to try to keep improving it.
Yeah, it's funny because everybody likes to say. You'll hear a lot when Bitcoin rips. Like people will be like, "Oh, Bitcoin doing what Bitcoin does." But then when we go in the opposite direction, everybody's like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Like, dude, it's just because the saying "Bitcoin doing what Bitcoin does" applies both ways. It's just
Absolutely.
doing whatever the fuck it feels like doing. It doesn't really care about your feelings or you thought you were in a super cycle or whatever.
But this is a time when people are like, oh, well, it must be dipping because it's not carbon friendly enough. So, the social attacks are dangerous because they open the door for, attacks on like the operating system. They're going to justify changing the rules. Just like we always do in society, they change the rules of fiat or society because of problems. And that's kind of the playbook where they're coming after Bitcoin. And I think it's important for the community in general to have this philosophy that we should not change Bitcoin. Like unless it's like there's like a critical problem where it needs to be fixed or else, it goes away. Like they need to stop trying to improve it.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of the base layer doesn't need to do anything more than what it's already doing.
Right.
Everything else that everybody wants to do is more than welcome to happen on like layer 2 and layer 3. Cool.
Exactly.
Go do your thing. Build your little shitcoin casino and call it Bitcoin, whatever you want to do. build your mock-up Web3 and your fucking whatever contracts and all smart contracts, all that shit. Go ahead, do all of that. Just don't fuck with the base layer. The base layer doesn't need to do that. The base layer needs to do exactly what it is doing and has done. That's all it needs to do. It just needs to make a block every 10 minutes, average, and it needs to confirm transactions. Like that. That's all the base layer needs to do.
Yeah, I hope people realize the importance of just like ossifying. Like it's like infinitely more valuable and inevitable if it's like a flawed, unchangeable thing than is a perfect but like changeable thing. And like there's always gonna be people thinking up ways to like improve it, but and the proposals will like never stop. But they should, like you said, they should just do it in higher layers. And it's really the unchangeableness that gives it value at all.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody can bitch and complain enough and force a change on Bitcoin, then its value proposition is gone.
So I hope like on Twitter, like it'll be considered like irrelevant if, it could be made better. Like people should just like shut that down and be like, no, rather than be like, I wonder if it could be made better. And like, I love like the Simply Bitcoin guys, but sometimes they come out with these updates and those guys are like, oh, this is like a really interesting update. It's going to do this. And it sounds nice, but it's so dangerous. They got to just stop doing that.
Yeah, let's get philosophical for a minute.
Okay.
So the whole it can get better, I think is really, we need to clearly define what you mean by better, because when you and who you ask, because I mean, if you ask, this is gonna sound horrible, if you ask a mid-20s woman, how do you make average mid-20s woman, how do you make a 1969 Mustang better? Well, you give it power steering and internet radio and all this great stuff. Well, if you ask somebody who's a car guy how you make that car better, you leave it the fuck alone. So, people want to say that, how do we make it better? You don't want to make it better. You just want to make it different. It's perfect the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, once they start messing with the, like, I don't know, immutability of the rules, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same concept as, or not the same concept, but on the note of philosophical ideas, I always found a really good fit between when you're trying to orange pill someone and Plato's allegory of a cave, where it's like, when these people are in the fiat system, I don't know if you're familiar with that writing from Plato. I'm probably sure you are.
No, I'm going to disappoint you here.
No? All right. So really quick breakdown of that. Plato's allegory of a cave. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but there's 3 guys in a cave and they're chained to the floor and they can't move. They can't turn their head around. They can't look behind them. All they can see is the wall in front of them. The wall in front of them has shadows on it. There's someone behind them moving objects in front of a fire to create shadows on the wall. So they live their whole life this way. And they look at the wall and they assume that a certain shape is a cow and a certain shape is the sun and a certain shape is a person. Now, one day, one of them gets free and he goes outside the cave and he realizes that everything outside is actually the way things are. And that what they've seen on the wall is just somebody trying to convince them that that's what things are. They go back and they try to teach the people that were chained with them what they've seen, but they've never seen something like that. So their brain can't comprehend it. I feel like that fits very well with the orange pilling of someone. how do you explain to somebody that everything they know about finance and everything they know about money is wrong?
Did you read the fiat standard?
I haven't read the fiat or the Bitcoin standard.
Oh, well, if you're like me and you could audiobook it because I can't read. But he and the fiat standard, I got it for like $10 on Audible. Great deal. Dude, those two books are like more comprehensive about how the world works than like 8 years of college. Like you could spend like hundreds of $1,000s and go to college and know less than what these two books tell you. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not just money. It's like the money is the root of like everything sucking. And in the
Exactly.
fiat standard, he breaks it down so beautifully. I mean, it's really nice. I actually I wrote an article for Citadel. I got rejected. And then I read the fiat standard. I'm glad it got rejected because safety said it like much better than I could. But just about like about like the technological deflation of prices and everything, just like stealing from everybody. But yeah, those books are really crazy. But yeah, people can't see that. But I would encourage people to read those two books just as just for education.
I haven't read many Bitcoin books, if I'm being real. I mean, I read the Block Wars or the Block Size Wars. I read Jason Williams' book.
I remember you talking about that.
And the best book that I have read, hands down, is Crypto Economics. Have you ever read that?
No.
I'll send you. I have the PDF of it. I don't know if there's an Audible for it, but wow, what a fantastic book.
Really?
Amazing. It was recommended to me by Anhans. You know Anhans?
I want to meet him. Well, I was thinking about trying to interview him because I want to know more about him because everybody raves about him.
Yeah, he's he's a character. He turned out to be like one of my best friends on Twitter, and
he's like super respected like all around,
which is hilarious because he's just like he's like an old school shit poster. he'll probably give me shit for saying that, but yeah, he's like the OG shit posters. You know what I mean? And but yeah, he turned me onto that book, and he's actually really knowledgeable about, and he likes to say he doesn't know shit, but he's actually really knowledgeable about Bitcoin. And he was like, I don't read any of those other books, just read this. And I was like, all right.
That title sounds like really shitty.
What?
Like crypto economics? Like
it's old. I want to say it's like
you're telling me about it. It must be good, but the title sounds sketchy.
I want to say it's like 2015 that it was written. Maybe even older.
Yeah.
I'd have to look.
Well, a lot of those principles back then hold true today.
Yeah, and it really breaks down like the way that, I don't know, it's hard to explain. The way that it's supposed to work. Like the way that like cryptographic economy is supposed to work.
It sounds like something Andreas would write. Not a compliment.
Oh, that's funny.
But okay, yeah, send it over. I'll check it out. I mean, I bet it's got some good principles in it anyway.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Upstream Data is sending it out with those black boxes they made for home mining. I think they're sending out a copy of the Bitcoin standard and a copy of Crypto Economics with that. I saw somebody post a picture of it the other day when it landed at their house, and it had a copy of Crypto Economics on top.
Do you ever listen to Safe Dean's podcast?
No. I think I have one.
Oh, I mean, it's awesome. It's such an easy listen, but his chapters and his books are like the same format. Like his stuff's like really easy to listen to, and I'm a guy who struggles with like nonfiction.
He has a no, that's not it. He has an accent, right? I struggle listening to people with accents.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I have a hard time with that.
He probably speaks English better than I do.
I mean, he probably speaks English better than I do too, but he has an accent. It's like it's difficult for me.
Actually, in the fiat standard, it's parts of it are him, but most of it's actually who's that other guy that narrates all the articles? You know what I'm talking about?
Guy
Yeah,
Swan.
Hey, I'm scared talking to you.
I'm losing you.
Like, David Bennett jumped ahead of me in the podcast order. I saw that.
He did.
Yeah, I'm both excited and mad at the same time. Hi, David.
He actually, I had never listened to any of his podcasts and I had never spoken to him, but we had like briefly exchanged on Twitter a couple of times. And Texas Slim actually was like, you really need to get together and have a conversation with him. And I was like, all right.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Yeah, I like listening to both of you, and his podcast is good stuff. Like he makes a lot of material, and he's really on top of his ethos there.
Yeah, and he does if I remember correctly, he does his podcast at like 5 a.m. or some shit. Like I could not. My brain does not function before like. Maybe my wife was laughing about this the other day. My brain, like you could look right at me and I'll look you right in the eyes and talk to you, and my brain processes nothing before 9 a.m. Nothing. I'm on autopilot. Coffee, drive, like go through the motions until about 9 a.m.
Well, I got a tough act to follow there. So I was telling you that I'm changing jobs now.
Yep.
I'm cutting down on my hours, so I'm gonna hopefully spend more time trying to think about Bitcoin and contribute a little bit, but I don't know, probably more importantly, more time at home to try to like help out more and even take care of myself more. So I was telling you I wanted to learn how to cook because I'm a sad soul that can't cook. So there's like a whole bunch of things that I want to do with that free time, but I'm excited to get a little bit of time back.
That's what it's all about. For me, I mean, I think we've talked about it before, but like I don't know. I've made a lot of money to me with what to me is a lot of money at points in my life. Time is everything, man. Time is everything. Money doesn't mean shit.
Well, in a Bitcoin system, money is time. It's just that right now, time is more important because they're devaluing the money. But I'm trying to make this argument that like there's been like a psyop with like the traditional like socioeconomic like status. You know, they talk about lower class and middle class, upper middle class, and upper class. You know, whatever. But they're trying to tell you that like if you make X amount of money, you're in X class, right?
Right.
But what if you work 30 hours a week? And what if you work like 80 hours a week? Are you a different class because you decided to trade more time for your money? Right? It shouldn't. If in a neutral society, you would actually not work at all and not make any money, but you'd have all your time. So you'd have like all of your value still, even though you didn't work. Right? It's kind of like a psyop in that. Like they're telling you like you're doing a great job, citizen. Keep working more. And I think they layer it like, you know, you got like lower class and working class and upper class or whatever. Like working class right in the middle. So it's trying to tell people that you're kind of related. You're like a relative of the people below you and the people above you. But the people who are working are like losing the most in the fiat system because those are the people that are kind of taxed the most, right? The time is being devalued so much that their time is being redistributed to the other classes. Those are the people that are contributing to the other classes. So like it's more important to know like in the system, like where on the spectrum of giving and taking you are than it is like absolutely like how much money, how much fiat you're bringing in. You want to know if the system as a vector is pushing you up or pulling you down. That's more important to kind of realize. So that's what I'm trying to write about.
Absolutely. And I think A person's value should be based on the value they provide to society. Does that make sense?
Well, that's what money is supposed to represent.
Right. So I feel like that is the major broken piece when it comes to the system that we currently live in, that those are not aligned the way that they should be.
For sure.
There's you you should provide a service that in turn the value of the service you provide should provide for all your needs, right? That's like where we came from. That's what we came from. Once upon a time you were a cobbler and you made shoes, and everybody came to you in town because you made shoes. And in turn, when you needed milk or you needed whatever you needed, your service provided enough, whether it was income or barter power, to fulfill the needs that you and your family had.
Stop describing a free market. What are you, a communist?
But then we turned and took to, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I can tell you that I have lived in an area that was heavily dominated by a barter system, and it was by far the best community I ever lived in. By far. Because if you have skills that produce fiat, but there is no work in the particular area you're in to procure fiat, then it's very helpful to be in an area where your skills can be quote unquote donated to someone who may not have the fiat to pay for your time, but in 2 or 3 months when you need wood to heat your house, they have plenty of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in that system when I lived in Vermont for a while, and it was fucking beautiful. Like, I thought nothing of getting up and going to work all day for no money, because I knew when time came and I needed something, the people that I helped were there.
But in that example, like, if fiat worked and they had wood, then they could easily convert that for money and then use money as a tool. But fiat's so bad that the people with wood don't have fiat. So fiat's so bad that it's worse than the barter system it was invented to replace.
Correct. It's gotten so out of control. Everything is so fucked.
Yeah, well, it's just layers of rent seeking. That's what fiat was designed to do. So maybe going back to barter and homesteading is going to pay off better, probably.
The vision that I see for what's to come, like when shit really starts to fucking implode, I am a full believer that simply owning Bitcoin will not be enough. Like, I believe we're headed to a place where a barter system will exist and a means of transaction, in this case being Bitcoin, will be okay, I have nothing that you need, so therefore Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, depends on how fucked we are, right? If everybody's so hopeless that they didn't even, try to protect themselves with the best money, then maybe barter is going to become more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I know I see it like this. Having skills that not everyone has is something that will always hold value. Always, regardless of what we're headed towards. What we're headed towards, right? Perfect example. You have your Lambo because Bitcoin mooned, yo. And something breaks that you need welded. All the money in the world isn't gonna weld that for you if there's no welder. So, you and your friends can stand around and count your money together, but nobody's gonna fix it if somebody doesn't have the skill to fix it. So skilled labor is always going to be something that holds value. I remember my grandfather, he was an ornery old prick. I remember him saying to me when I said I didn't want to know what I wanted to do after high school, what do you want to do with your life? I don't know. He said, well, that's all right, because the world always needs ditch diggers. And I thought he was like being a prick, but he's right. Like in this utopian world that people like to look at, like, oh, everything's going to be great. Everybody's going to be a gazillionaire. Okay, but somebody still has to dig the ditch. Mm-hmm. Somebody still has to do the shit that you don't want to do.
Why do you think in a sound money system that the ditch digger is going to actually have his value increased? Right. Instead of just like awarding like the rent seekers, like the people who actually work hard would get rewarded more in the sound money system.
Yeah. That would be
reward value better.
That's what I would like to see. I would like to see people who have a skilled trade or whatever it is, if you're a dentist or you're a doctor or you're a chiropractor or you're a ditch digger or you're a welder, that you're compensated fairly for the time that it takes you to provide that service.
Yeah. Not like a fucking like stockbroker or something. That's where we reward people now.
Yeah, you're a leech.
Yeah.
Anybody who works in finance is a piece of shit. That's just sorry. Not sorry. Like, you're a piece of shit. All the money you make as a finance person is off of somebody else's back. Somebody's life was fucking ruined so that you could get that fat check.
Yeah, I see that angle, but at the same time, it's kind of like, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's like, we're incentivized to do rent seeking.
Fuck the game and shoot the player.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to recognize what game we're playing, though, too. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna hate on somebody, that's not a bad one. Have you noticed, like, I'm not like saying anything on Twitter lately?
Yeah, you've been like radio silent. I also wanted to, not to cut you off, but I want to make sure that I say it. That way we might get to it.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we talk about, I have seen a shift in your demeanor / perspective in the last year.
Really?
I'd really like to talk about that, but go ahead with what you were saying.
I don't know. I'm just like not saying much because, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of talking to myself. So like when I tweet, I'm just like organizing my own thoughts, right? So it's an exercise and just like thought organization. But I get retweeted more by like Poopa and like other players. that might be a bad sign. I don't know. So I feel like I'm putting myself out there kind of for no reason. So I laid off a little bit, and I'm trying to. If I have like a good thought, I'm going to try to like do writing something. But I don't know. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've definitely stepped back from Twitter in the last, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so. Things have just been really busy, and it's like, I don't know. Like, oh no, price is down. Okay. Yay, price is up. Okay. Okay.
For me, like, I'm not actually pulling back because of the price. Like, I'm fine there. I just don't like talking to myself. I'm just as excited. I gave my plumber the Bitcoin Standard today.
Nice.
Like, I'm into it, but like, I'm not like, it doesn't make sense to talk to myself online where I'm just like putting myself out there. I'm gonna end up on some list for no reason.
I've shared a lot more homesteading stuff as of late. Really because that's just like where I'm at right now. But like I don't know, I guess it's sort of like the same as what you're saying, right? When I haven't what I conceive to be an original thought, I'll try to articulate that. But outside of that, like, eh, I jumped in a couple times over the last couple of weeks to like meme some people and shit on some people because that's always fun. But like, I don't know. Wintertime, I have plenty of spare time, and this time of year, I just don't. And it's like I have to. The reality of it is, I have to make a conscious choice at like this time of year. Am I gonna like ignore my responsibilities to shitpost, or am I gonna like take care of my responsibilities and like shitpost with the extra time that I have?
Well, that's an easy answer, right? You gotta do your thing.
Yeah, it's like I gotta. I don't know, and I had like I wasn't on social media at all for 5 years prior to coming on Bitcoin Twitter. So I don't see myself coming, I guess you could say. And I have a very addictive personality. So
You don't say.
I don't know if you've heard, but
I listen to your show.
yeah, so like I noticed, I don't know. I guess I started this podcast to be real, right? So to be real about it, like I noticed that I would lay down in bed at night next to my wife, and I lay down at night. I haven't seen her all day. I've been shit posting on Twitter all day at work. Then I come home. I'm hanging out with the kids for a couple hours, and we lay down in bed. And from 8 o'clock to 11:30, I'm on Twitter. And like the only thing I say to her is good night, and we roll over and go to sleep. Like,
yeah, that's probably too much Twitter. I've been there too. That's probably too much Twitter. Though.
Yeah, it's just like I got to that point maybe 2 months ago or something, and I sat down and I talked to her about it, and I was like, hey, like let's not pick up our phones when we lay down in bed. Like, let's spend some time like together. And so now, like I'll shit post on Twitter at night, but usually when I'm shit posting on Twitter at night, it's like after 10:30 when she's asleep. Because what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like
limiting is definitely like healthier. I don't know. I like being involved and I like keeping in touch with a lot of people, but it's just you feel healthier when you get away from it. When you're not like compulsively checking for likes and things like that, it's better. You're usually more efficient.
Yeah, that, and I get like I'm in I don't know, a dozen group chats, probably, if not more. And it's like literally has made my life so busy that I'm like, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. I'm like,
I never
why?
stick with those.
Yeah. You're my hero. I feel obligated.
Yeah, well, you're a popular guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be more like me, and nobody will miss you. Yeah, but I don't know. I do think I'm like having been like really like overly on Twitter and pulling back from Twitter. Actually, pulling back's healthier.
Yes.
And it lets you get more stuff done. Like you and I were just talking about how there's a lot of skills you could be learning. There's a lot of work you could be doing. A lot of low time preference stuff you could be setting up for the future, and it's probably more useful than being on Twitter all day.
Yeah, shit posting definitely has its place. Like, don't get me wrong. But
I wouldn't have met you without Twitter, right? I wouldn't have met a whole bunch of these guys that we respect. So there's got to be some balance.
Exactly. And I don't know. It's been a busy season for me. It's been like a season of my life, we'll call it, right? Like, yeah. I got new like some new. You were talking about new work stuff. I got new work stuff coming up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about some of your things. You are you talking about the privacy stuff or the Texas Slim stuff, mining,
No, not even that stuff. Like
other stuff?
completely outside of anything to do with Twitter. I got a license in my area or in my state that I got a well driller's license. That was a big accomplishment. And then
Congrats.
I got another license that is an industrial industrial and commercial well design. Like I got a certification to be able to do that and pass the test, which was a motherfucker. But it's been like a big thing, right? Because I don't talk about this a lot, but with everything going on in the economy, like, me and my father run a family business, and our family business has been hit hard. Like really fucking hard. Like our equipment's diesel 650 a gallon right now. And it's okay because we're in the construction trade and shit's busy, but at the same time, like it's becoming harder and harder to make ends meet. And getting these licenses gives us a chance to like branch out and survive.
Well, that's cool. That'll open up some doors for you business wise.
Yeah, it opens up the opportunity for me to do consulting work. And the consulting work is like really, really highly paid. And I'm the only guy within a few hours of here that is able to do it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time. We talked about this the last time you were on here. I think you're the only person I've ever talked about it with. Like, I've never had to work for anything in my life. Like, I've physically worked a lot, but like never, even like in my school years, like I never studied for a test ever. Like, fucking ever. And I went to go get this license and I failed the test. And then I took it again and I failed it. And then I took it again and I failed it. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I had to like really buckle down and like study. And this probably sounds so stupid to some people, but it's so alien for me. And like I had to buckle down and study and like work my fucking ass off to get that license. And like that chewed up a big chunk of my time. So that's probably got a lot to do with like the time that I've spent off Twitter, because like I can't shit post and study at the same time. My brain doesn't work like that.
Congratulations. I mean, you actually had to make a conscious choice to like not be on Twitter all day to do that.
It was so hard.
But that's cool. I hope it works out and it helps your business.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it gives us. I live a pretty good life because of what I do for a living. Some people would look at my life and say, "Wow, that looks horrible." But my life for me is very comfortable, and when everything is running, what's that word in synchronicity? Is that a word? Am I making that word up? I'm probably making.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Synchronistic. I don't know. Somebody can find a word that's a real word that means what I'm trying to say. But when everything like runs right, I am at work at 8:00 and I'm home at 4:00 and I work 6 minutes from my house. Nice. So when everything's great. Now for the last 3 months, I've been at work at 6:30 in the morning and home at 5:30 at night. But when everything's running well, excuse the pun, I have a really good life and I'm close to home and I'm never really more than 20 minutes from my house, and I can stop at home for lunch some days, and I can, if something happens at the house, I can stop at the house. like I have a lot of things that you can't get in like a normal fiat job. So to try to preserve that life that we've created, and to have this new option to be able to do that. And, as you were saying, I'm not sure if you said it after we started recording or before, but like to really get the chance to spend time home. Like the goal, some people's goal is to like make as much money as like, how can I get as big as I can get and make as much money as I can make? My goal is how can I pay the bills and not have to leave?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get myself set up to a point where I can like do the things I want to do every day?
And the more of the stuff you do yourself, the less bills you have to pay. Sounds like you're pretty good at a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's like we talked about before, like that's the whole point of what we're doing now, is to buy another piece of land, a bigger piece of land that we can like buy outright and don't take any debt out to build a house there. And then when we go to leave here, we have all the knowledge we've gained here, and just to be somewhere where like we don't have bills and we don't have, I don't know if I said it to you before, but like the guy that taught me everything about being a man, about how to conduct yourself. I remember him saying to me, yeah, I remember him saying to me that like retirement is really figuring out what you don't need to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can figure out that you don't need like a brand new car and you don't need like the best cable package, and you don't like, if you can start marking those things off your list, then life can become very affordable. And when life becomes very affordable, living the way you want to live becomes very easy, because the amount of money, actual money you need to survive is minimal.
Yeah, it's easy to have a lot of excess stuff that you're paying for that you don't need.
Yes. It's consumerism.
Yeah.
Got to buy the newest, the biggest, the shiniest. I don't. I drive a 2002 Grand Marquis.
Grand Marquis. Nice.
Grand Marquis. I don't know if it might have been Dieter that called me a poor because I drove that.
Sounds about right.
It was somebody. It was somebody in Taco
You just kept my Dieter streak alive. Every single podcast I go
on. But I mean, cool. Yeah, having nice things is cool, but like,
yeah, it doesn't make your life better, really.
No, like getting up to go to work to pay for the Porsche in my driveway sounds kind of fucking lame. In my opinion. I mean, I'm sure Porsches are cool. You know what I mean? I guess for like guys with, lower back butterfly tattoos, but I saw a guy driving a purple Porsche the other day, and I was like, God, you are like, I don't even have to know you, and I know you're just a sad human being. Like, you are just fucking sad. I bought this car because people will look at it. Cool, bro.
So what's the Ford counterpart of that car? Was it a Thunderbird? What was that? Or a Crown Victoria or something like that?
Yeah, of the Grand Marquis?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Crown Vic. So okay. It's essentially just a Crown Vic with a Mercury label on it.
You got the fancier version of it.
Yeah, I guess. Sure. Yeah. I have a 2002 Grand Marquis Grand Floridian edition with a really horribly green blue vinyl top. It's pretty fucking sweet.
Well, we'll have to go out and pick up chicks sometime.
Dude, listen, this is how it works, right? My wife I believe I've said it here before. If I haven't, fucking doxed. My wife works for a car dealership. Um, and I was driving prior to this. I was driving a 1992 Ford Ranger.
Okay.
With 380,000 miles on it.
That's a lot of
And
miles.
she was my baby. I loved that truck. And my wife's work called me. She's worked there for a long time. So one of the guys in the office called me. And he's like, "Hey, we get this horrendously ugly fucking car. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, like let me come look at it." So I went and looked at it. It had 89,000 miles. It had never been outside in winter. And in the glove box inside the manual from the dealership was the service record of every oil change that it had from the point that it had 0 miles all the way up to 89,000. It was some little old man that traded it in.
Nice.
So the thing was completely mint. And the guy at the dealership, I was like, "Well, what do you want for it?" He's like, "I don't know. I gave him $200 for it, so give me 200 and you can have it." I was like, "Fucking duh! Like that's a no brainer." So I gave him $200, and I've been driving that thing ever since. That was, oh shit, 3 years ago. I think I put
Nice.
$1,000 in it since I got it. But it runs cherry. It doesn't cost me anything. I have no payment. My insurance is like, I don't know, $300 a year.
Well, that's pretty smart.
It just makes sense. No bills.
Um, are Bitcoiners still excited about the Elon Musk thing on Twitter? I don't. I'm asking you seriously because I don't know.
I honestly probably couldn't tell you. I
Like,
mean, I think anybody who simps for Elon's a fucking
well,
loser.
like a lot of
So.
like respected Bitcoiners seem to think that it was like a good thing that he was getting like control of Twitter. Like a lot of people
Eh,
like I respect and look up to were like, oh, it's great. Elon's here for free speech.
eh. I guess it depends on how deep you get into like psyops and how much you believe
Well,
is
like
real.
it just seems crazy to me. Like the one guy that was skeptical was Coin Icarus, and like I kind of agree with him. But like if he says he's like here for freedom and free speech, but he doesn't like see freedom money at all, and he's also runs like a bunch of companies that were like never profitable, but he's like gamed the system to I don't know, get like more subsidies than anybody else in the history of humanity. It seems crazy that he's the guy that's going to unlock free speech.
Yeah, I think he just wants the data. You want
Well,
my take on Elon? Here's my take on Elon.
I do.
Elon Musk bought Twitter because he wants all the data from Twitter to turn around and give it back to the fuck's the name of that thing? Neuralink. That brain chip that he's building.
Oh,
Have you
he's
heard about
building a
that thing?
brain chip. Uh, really peripherally.
Yeah, they like screw it into your brain and it can like
That sounds like some wacky kind of stuff, huh?
it's supposedly like the marketing end of it is like, oh, you have PTSD, like we can put this thing in your head and erase the memories that give you PTSD.
Fuck that.
Exactly.
We thought the vaccine was bad.
Exactly. And this is the guy that wants to do this is the guy that's going to save free speech. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, I mean, how do you become the richest guy with no profitable companies other than the state basically like supporting you? And then you're the guy that's going to control thought? That's dangerous.
Yeah. It's yeah.
He's the guy that has the most to lose if the state stops controlling and stealing from people.
Correct.
So it seems crazy that we're all like, oh, come and save us.
I believe there's so much evidence that he, like you said, he's never owned a company that was profitable. He's collected more subsidies than anybody else in human history. I think it's definitely believable to think that the government wants to own a social media outfit. Social media has been its own thing for too long. And quote unquote publicly traded or privately owned. And the government wants to own one. So quote unquote Elon bought Twitter.
Mm-hmm. That sounds more likely.
Yeah, I mean, Elon's not saving anybody but Elon.
Yeah.
Let's be fucking real. You know what I mean? He's
Remember when he came out in favor of Bitcoin, the next day he was not in favor of Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Like, that's just like, he's going to do what they say.
I don't think he's the savior that everybody wants him to be. Like, he's not, he's not getting these government subsidies that he's not working for and like driving down the road firing $100 bills out of a t-shirt gun.
I think it's crazy that any Bitcoiners think he is. Like, it is insane.
Yeah, he's a fucking huge piece of shit. He's always been a huge piece of shit.
All right, so we're on the same page with Elon.
Yeah, fuck.
I heard your talk with Texas Slim and Bubba. That was cool.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a new podcast coming about from that.
I heard that floated around.
Yeah, Slim was talking about it. So
I gave a talk I was actually giving a talk in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to you guys on my way home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm up in your neck of the woods a lot, actually.
Oh, we need to get together for lunch.
That'd be awesome.
Or dinner or something.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you about it, but I've got some dates.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always around. I do the same shit every day. So my schedule is pretty open.
So part of your talk was you were talking about like the circular economy and how Bitcoin developed one.
Of what?
A circular economy in Bitcoin. Yep. I heard you guys talking about that. And I don't know. I got that, but I have like kind of like mixed feelings about it. Like the argument is that you need a circular economy so you have censorship resistance in the transaction, right?
My argument is for the circular economy is that Bitcoin was invented to be peer-to-peer digital cash. Yeah. Bitcoin was not meant or ever intended to be used by institutions of any kind, and that includes exchanges.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. What good is money that has to change into other money in order to be used?
Oh, so there's that control point where you can have censorship then, right?
What do you mean?
Oh, like if you have to transfer to other money, like the exchange rates negligible. So the real problem is that now you need permission transactions.
Yeah.
But I would argue that if you took away the power of the printing press, they wouldn't have nearly as much power to censor your transactions.
It's true, but you're always going to run into the issue of paper Bitcoin and rehypothecating Bitcoin as long as things like Coinbase exist.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's going to go to Coinbase, knock on the door right now and say, show me the UTXO for every Bitcoin you claim to have? I can tell you right now they can't.
Yeah.
But you're always going to have that problem as long as we continue to steer more in the direction of trading our Bitcoin for fiat in order to transact than finding somebody who has a good or a service we want and transacting in Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that's much easier to see and accept when, like for me, people stream me sats for the podcast. We started doing that last year. So this year, when everybody was down in Miami, there's, I don't know, a dozen people or something that I talk to regularly that are in Miami. So the guy who does my audio video work, Bitcoin Fuckboy, I sent him 250,000 sats. I was like, yo, buy some beers for like the people that we talk to regularly, like on the podcast. You know what I mean? Like people support us. Mm-hmm. Like I'm more than happy to like, send some corn out and like go, on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's when people pay you in Bitcoin, it's much easier to be like, okay, like I'm getting paid in Bitcoin. I'm going to take that Bitcoin and then turn around and, I bought maple syrup from Maple Trade He has a homestead up in upstate Ohio. I'm happy to do that, and like I retweet his stuff, and I love seeing him like get out there and take this great product and like offer it to the Bitcoin community in a way that like encourages the circular economy. I'm not
Yeah.
I do have my hodl stash.
No doubt it's better, to be used with means of exchange. I don't know how absolutely necessary it is, but yeah, you're right. It's better.
Yeah, I mean, how do you see it? Tell me your view. Every time you come on, I feel like you interview me. I lost you again. I'm buying you a microphone for your birthday.
Is that any better?
Nope.
How about now?
There it is.
All right. Sorry. Yeah. Shout out Fuckboy. Help me with my shitty microphone. No, I'm just thinking like the real problem is that like they are able to like monitor and act on every single transgression because they have an unlimited budget. So if we can just take away that one power, I mean, that really eliminates a lot of the problem. And I think it's a question of how much of that problem is eliminated by that. And then you're saying we need that means of exchange to kind of take it a step further. And I agree with that.
I think there's a very large misconception about privacy. Privacy is choosing to reveal yourself selectively to the world at large.
Okay.
The system that we currently have doesn't allow for that. The system that we currently have requires you to reveal yourself in order to transact. The beauty of Bitcoin as Bitcoin was designed is you couldn't pick me out of a crowd. And you don't need to know, I don't have to prove to you or to anyone else that the money is coming from me. You send me an address, I send you Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I went through all of that trying to, I bought that Bitcoin off my buddy in the Philippines. What a fuck show. Like dealing with the fiat system in order to send him fiat. What a fuck show that was.
Yeah.
Like they literally called my wife and was like, how do you know this person? When was the last time you saw him? Why are you sending money to this country?
But every first layer Bitcoin transaction is pretty traceable though.
Debatable.
Okay.
I will agree with you based on the general definitions of the words you used. Yes. Meaning, transactions on the base layer, sure, they're absolutely traceable.
Mm.
Can you prove that those UTXOs belong to such and such a person? Can you prove that that address belongs to such and such a person? All the base layer tells you is that your address received sats from my address.
Depends on your OPSEC a little bit, right?
Right. So
and are you reusing addresses or not?
I would say not even that. I would say you could continuously reuse the exact same address if you bought non-KYC Bitcoin and didn't do any transactions out or into that Bitcoin address that were tied to your identity.
Right.
And that is how Bitcoin was designed.
Okay.
Bitcoin was designed, there's a lot of talk about privacy and a lot of things. And I agree with a lot of the privacy things that need to come into play now simply because of the system that has grown up around Bitcoin. But in its purest form, in its natural state, Bitcoin doesn't need any of that.
Yeah. You just got to be careful because once you make one bad transaction, you just like dox like everything, right?
Yeah, to a degree, if there's somebody looking at you and they can read chain analytics, sure. But I mean, that is where you get into the territory of that's the price you pay to have censorship resistant money. The price you pay is personal responsibility. I need to be good about what I'm doing, how I'm transacting, in order for my privacy to be maintained to the point that I want it to be maintained. And for everybody, that's different.
Yeah.
But the
I guess-
price you pay is personal responsibility of what you're doing. There's no bank to say, we'll protect you.
If you do need something tied to your ID, I guess if you go on like Lightning or something, though, that could take care of that problem too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a hard problem to solve, right? I have a transaction that I need to do. Say I have a wallet that is exactly the way I just described. So I need to make a transaction that is linked to my identity. So I spin up 3 new wallets and I bounce those funds through those 3 wallets, and then I buy whatever I have to buy tied to my identity. Now prove that all 4 of those wallet addresses belong to me.
Yeah. You're good at this tech stuff.
It's not. No, the thing is, I come from a long background of family members who are criminals. So you have that mindset. You're always trying to obfuscate what you're doing, even if you're not doing something wrong. And it's not about doing something wrong. It's my right. It should be my right.
Yeah, privacy should be more of a right.
I should be able to, if I want to tell you what I'm doing, then I should be able to tell you what I'm doing, which Bitcoin allows for. But if I don't want to tell you, I should also have that option.
I heard you did a few podcasts about privacy.
Yes.
And it made me uncomfortable because I suck at it, right? Like you realize how bad you are at privacy and how little of your things are private. Like I know I'm not going to get like a graphene operating system phone. So like when I hear that, I'm like, oh God, I suck at this. I'm screwed. I don't know. It's tough. Like lazy asses like me, we need like simpler privacy. Like what VPN's the best VPN, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's specific to each person, because using that example, you can say, if somebody asked me what's the best VPN service, I'm going to tell you what I've used. So I think Mulvad is the best VPN service. But then you turn around and you talk to somebody like my buddy Shanoa, and he'll tell you that all VPNs are shit. And every VPN service is compromised. So it's like it's the privacy thing is just as much of a rabbit hole as Bitcoin. It's just continuously trying to become better.
I think that Shanoa just got interviewed by the Bitcoin Stoa. Nick from Canada just interviewed him.
No way.
That's on my list, I think.
No way. Can't be the same guy. If he went on somebody else's podcast before me, I'll fucking.
Oh no! It was your other friend. It was Shishi. I'm sorry.
All right. Whew. I was gonna say me and Shanoa are gonna have some words.
Shishi Shanoa. What do you want from me?
No, Shanoa doesn't go on any podcasts. I've asked. He's like, I'm much better articulating through typing than I am through talking. I'm like, come on. What the fuck? So he has a lot of he's the type of person that I don't think you hear a lot on podcasts. And that's somebody who's been around forever and is relatively unknown. You have a lot of people that have been around forever that everybody knows who they are. But it's nice to know that there's still people who are like, don't have this big following, but have been here. Huh. He has an interesting perspective too, because he used to work for somebody. I don't even know if I should say that on a recording. Somebody who was important in Bitcoin. So
that narrows it down.
Yeah. For a very controversial figure that was in Bitcoin for a long time. So he has a very interesting take on a lot of things, and he's pretty much my go-to guy when I don't understand something or any technical questions I have. He's the guy.
Oh, I'll have to give him a follow. Have you been watching Phil and Nico lately?
Not as much as I want to.
Oh, they're really getting good. Like, I think they're getting better. But I don't know. I learn a lot just following their stuff.
Yeah, I've been the podcast I've been on lately that I like religiously listen to is Bitcoin Kindergarten. But
who does that? Is that Weinicus?
Weinicus and Optimus Fields.
I thought Optimus Fields isn't he with Simply Bitcoin now, or is he did both?
Yes, he does both.
Okay.
So him and Weinicus do Bitcoin Kindergarten along. I don't know. Bitcoin Kindergarten's like weird. There's like a bunch of people who are like regular figures, you know? Like them two are regulars. Surfer Jim's a regular. I mean, Optimus Fields hosts it, but I don't know. They have like teachers lounge, quote unquote, every week. And like, there's people who are always there. She's always there. That's where I met a lot of those guys.
I got a Bitcoin Kindergarten shirt. You should do shirts.
Nah, I haven't thought about it. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like everybody does shirts or hats. Did everybody? I had
swag.
I had said I was going to do something, and I think it was Hulk Hogan who was like, anything but a hat. I have so many fucking hats.
Yeah. Just don't put too horrible of a meme on the shirt.
me and Shanoa have one that's like two Barbie dolls on a chocolate cake, like covered in chocolate frosting. And it looks like a 2 girls 1 cup cake, and I may go with a shirt with that.
I don't even know what to think of that. Is that bad?
I'll have to send it or I'll tag you in it. I think you posted it again the other day. I can't remember who originally made it. It was either me or him, but it went around for a while last year and then it disappeared, and he posted it again the other day. I was laughing.
Are you doing anything with Texas Slim now?
I mean, we get together regularly, like for a podcast every other month. Probably.
You're not involved in beef or anything?
Not in the beef initiative. But I think me and him and Bubba are gonna put together something. If not, I'm definitely gonna put together something regular with Bubba. Bubba's just funny.
I've been following Bubba for a while. What's his deal?
He's a retired American trucker.
Okay.
He's just a good old boy, and he was a
out
rock
of the
star.
country now?
I think so. Yeah.
Huh.
He's in. I think he's in the Philippines now.
Okay, that's a bold move.
Yeah, his wife is from there.
Okay.
He was like a rock and roll guy in I want to say the 80s and the 90s maybe. Like was like a local kind of rock and roll guy, toured a little bit, and he's just, I don't know, he's a good old boy. He's the embodiment of American.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
I get a kick out of talking to him. He's just so, I love Bubba because he has no filter. And it's hard to find people like that.
Yeah.
You know, he's just very like, when he opens his mouth, what's on his mind comes out. And it's refreshing. You know, in a world full of artificial people, it's very refreshing to talk to somebody who's an open book.
Yeah, well, I'll look forward to the next one you guys do.
So I got like 8 minutes left. So tell me about the last year for you, because I feel like Frito's changed a lot in the last year.
Well, I've been frustrated just with work a lot. You know, I don't know if you ever read that article I wrote about medicine, but medicine is just a grind. And it's like, I mean, gosh, I'm sure you work a lot harder than me. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, I don't know. The deal keeps changing and it's frustrating. And we got some new management at work, and that's been frustrating. So I've been just trying to get out. So I gave my 90-day notice. I'm on my last like 2 weeks now, so I'm in the home stretch. But it's just work, trying to get out. And I think for me things will lighten up when I get to my new place, and I'll be in a better place. But otherwise, I don't know. I haven't been overly concerned with Bitcoin really. And I've been busy. I was my kids doing lacrosse, and we just got back from a big game today. They beat the other team, the poor other team. They beat this team like 18-0 today. That part kind of sucked.
Oof.
But my kid's doing good. And I don't know, man. Twitter for me has been just like we talked about it, but it's just
I miss your tweets personally. I don't know who else I'm speaking for, but like,
yeah.
I miss your tweets.
Maybe I'll come back a little more. I got to find that happy median. I wasn't in a good spot just doing it too much. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. I think you and maybe two other guys ever read them. So right. I do better just being in a group with like you guys.
Yeah, but it's like those people that like, and I think it's important to say that, right? That even if you make posts and you feel like only 2 people read them, like I know for me, like you were one of the people that like I would scroll and like stop to read. You know what I mean? Like not most people I scroll by, but I would like stop to read it because like I don't know. You have a very articulate way of.
Oh, that means a lot, man. That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, maybe I'll come back and do a little more just if I know like one person's actually reading it. But it's also frustrating. You're like talking to like the general public, right? And as time goes on, it's like the general public's just getting like more and more lost. I feel like less and less reasonable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like maybe it's time just to kind of focus on like what I can do to improve myself and my family a little bit more too. But yeah, I mean, there's some of you guys that I want to talk to more. And in a few weeks, like I said, my schedule is going to lighten up. I feel like a dick even saying this, but I worked out 4-day weekends for like, perpetually, like starting in a couple weeks. So
epic.
Yeah. I mean, like I went on an interview for this job and I was like, you guys are going to let me do that. I was like, okay. So I should be a little bit more, I think thoughtful when that happens.
That's the dream, right? For me.
Yeah. I want to do a little more. I enjoy podcasting as like a hobby. Like I want to do a little bit more of that. And I've
been following your show.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm proud of like all the ones we did. I think I have to get you over there sometime just to have another excuse to talk to you.
You have some interesting characters on people that I don't know, which is really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I want to find some people like that. I got some people in mind, like that Ann Hans I want to get on just because I've never heard him talk. And I wanted to meet him too.
That's because he's a Euro fag. That's why you haven't heard him talk.
Oh,
I'm only saying that because he listens to this.
Well, then I especially want to get him on. But I don't know. Hopefully I can get more involved. And I think that Bitcoin right now at 30,000 is like no less interesting than it was at 69. So, and we need it more. So it's important to talk about still.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the focus for me has really been, this is the only way I know how to say this. So the focus lately for me has really been on trying to like humanize the people that I have on, in that people are more complex than just the fact that they like Bitcoin. So like I like having people on who are involved in Bitcoin business, say like I had BTC Zelko on from Ronin Dojo, and that was cool. And we talked a lot about Bitcoin, and but I also think it's cool to mix it up and have people on like when I did the one with Bubba and Slim, and when I had Shishi on, you get a chance to like talk about the other facets of these people's lives, and I think that's really important because when people listen to this podcast to hear something from a guest that they can like connect with on a level outside of Bitcoin. Like it's cool to listen to a podcast and be like, oh, that guest uses the same hardware wallet as me or something. But for somebody to talk about, say, gardening, and somebody who's new to Bitcoin hears that and they're like, oh shit, like I should follow that person because they're into this thing that I'm into. And in turn, they're getting all this Bitcoin education along with it.
Yeah. I mean, you have a great cast of characters. There's a wide range of people. I've heard a lot of people for the first time on your show that like I never heard anywhere else. But I've seen all their names, so it's kind of cool.
That's a big thing too, is I try to get people that aren't on a lot of podcasts. I don't want to hear the same people. I really only have people on that I want to talk to. That's my model. Like if I think you're interesting and I want to have a conversation with you, then I have you on my podcast, and maybe somebody else will find you interesting too. But
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I mean, just because, I don't know, because somebody has a lot of followers or because other people tell me they're interesting. Like I've had so many people recommended to me to have on the podcast, and I'm just like, nah. No thanks. I don't find them interesting. Like they don't have, if you don't have an original thought in your head, like I'm not trying to have a conversation with you. I'm not trying to have somebody on to listen to them, reword Michael Saylor for a fucking hour. I don't know. I'm just an asshole, and I guess that's the way I look at it, but that's me.
Nah, I don't think so. I think you try to be, but you're not.
Yeah, sometimes I guess. I'm a big softy inside. My buddy used to tell me I was soft as puppy shit inside. But
he used the word puppy shit.
Yeah, and then I get drunk and kick his ass. I don't drink anymore though.
But thanks, man. I appreciate you. And it's nice to get a chance to come out and talk and try to I don't know, get back up to date on things a little bit with you.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure having you on. I appreciate you taking the time, especially on a Monday night, to carve some time out of your busy schedule and sit down and talk to somebody like me.
And now I got to go and like set some time aside tomorrow to listen to you and David.
That was actually a good one. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that podcast. So
very cool. Very cool.
Let me know what you think.
I will. And hopefully we can plan something when I'm around. Yeah. Next couple months or so. But yeah, good luck on the homestead. Don't work too hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know when you're down this area, and we'll go out and grab a bite to eat.
That'd be awesome.
I'm pumped, man. I look forward to it. I appreciate you coming on, and I'll catch you on Twitter.
All right. Thanks so much, man.
Fuck wasabi.